You just took half my lexicon away.
All right. I killed my camera. This is Greg Martelle coming to you live from the subarctic. Today we have Chelle Honiker to talk about a number of things. And of course, I'm making hand motions here like you can see me. I turned off my camera so you can see me. Where are you coming to us from, Chelle?
So right now I'm sitting in Texas. I'm normally a bit nomadic, but I have come back to this state to be near my daughters for a year. I signed a year's lease. And then after that, back to the UK and points beyond.
Okay. UK, Northern Ireland or Great Britain?
So back to Northern Ireland, which I spent 4 months there at the beginning of the pandemic, got locked down and stayed there for 4 months, but also Scotland. Scotland's now become a second home of sorts. I'm in love with Scotland and all things Scotland. So yeah, Scotland, Northern Ireland. And then of course, we have friends now that are in Kent and London and all the points around England. And so yeah, lots of places to visit, plus Germany, Netherlands, Finland. So we've got friends now, awesome friends we're all trying to get together at some point, hopefully first in Madrid.
Yeah. And that, well, I think we're on track. Pablo Poveda is our point man there in Madrid. And we are looking at that. And then we'll be hopefully going to the coast for the writing retreat part, which is the following 5 days. So look for that in 2022. We are looking at, we actually should sign the lease and pay the deposit within the next hopefully a couple weeks. Well, 20 Books Madrid 2020. And for me personally, I'm looking at a writing retreat in Shetland, but a personal one, like just me going to Shetland and there.
So of course, that if any one of us finds out about that, we are an invasive species. So the group of us that all write together. So if you let any of us know, we will send upon your doorstep with, snacks, gin, and shenanigans.
Yep. My Airbnb in Shetland for a 2-week super jam writing retreat.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So yeah, you won't be alone.
We'll see what we can do.
Sorry.
Yeah. We'll see what we can do. But now that we have some people showing up, we've been making small talk for 3 minutes. Let's talk about conferences, because of course 20 Books Vegas is always on my mind. And conferences and meeting people. I met you the first time at Smart Artist Summit 2017.
Yep.
And from there, you went to 20 Books Vegas. You went to 20 Books Edinburgh. Yep. Did you go to 20 Books London?
I didn't go to 20 Books London. I went to SPF London, and then went into lockdown right after that. And I was in the UK during lockdown, the first part of it.
Yeah, that's conferences.
It was you
made some great
conference.
Friends there.
Yeah.
Talk about like Lass McMaster. When she was in Edinburgh, I sat right across from her in the nonfiction room. She didn't speak. She didn't introduce herself. She just sat there hunched over, and then of course they started chatting. Bradley came in, and I'm like, I'm trying to work. I was looking for more silence, and that wasn't it at all.
No.
So we left that room, but then I was like, these are my people, but they really aren't. She was meandering the hallways at Edinburgh, the University of Edinburgh, and that's where she ran to you. Let's talk to me about that.
So the funny story is we had all of these breakout rooms, right, by genre, and there was a romance room, and there was an urban fantasy, sci-fi room, and I had sort of my primordial ooze is nonfiction. I've written tons of nonfiction. And so, but I was really trying to build my fiction brain and side. So I started in the romance room, and those sprints were so hardcore. I was scared and intimidated. They were amazing, but I was kind of freaked out a little bit. The introvert in me just kind of flipped
Laura
out.
Phoenix. I love her.
Nora Phoenix runs a tight ship. Let me just say that. But I was sitting next to Mary Mayweather, who I had also met at the Smarter Artist 2017 conference. And she is now the selfie queen. And so Mary and I, we were good. I was sitting next to her. But then I sort of said, I'm going to go over to the nonfiction room. And you had just left and I took your seat. And somehow when I sat down, that's when we started to go around the room and introduce ourselves. And so when we got to Lass McMaster, who is from Northern Ireland, but says Texas is her home, I said, I'm from Texas. And she just sort of said, oh, did we just become best friends? And funny enough, we have become best friends. It's just hilarious. So from that, I also met Alice Briggs, who was nonfiction in the nonfiction room. And she and I together have started Indie Author Magazine, which we can talk about. But that room was the genesis of the probably, every significant close friend that I've had in the last 2 years. And all of the writing that I've done has been because of these people that I've met that have encouraged me, and we've encouraged each other, and we've written anthologies, and we started a website to keep track of all the tools. And we started a book club to talk about craft chat. The genesis of that room and Edinburgh in general cannot be understated as to the impact that it's made on the indie author community. And we thank you a lot. We do, but publicly thank you for that conference in particular, because that really was the start of all of this. The relationships.
And I'll tell you that
there. Yeah.
The model of 20 Books Edinburgh that included a writing retreat, even though it was extremely, extremely complex to put together and time consuming to manage. Poor Rami, he did the heavy lifting on that.
But then
Madrid, we're not going to include rooms with 20 Books Madrid. We're going to leave that to everybody. That makes it so much easier on us, the room thing. And the writing retreat, that's the model I wanted because of how close people can get when they in that kind of environment.
It made all the difference.
The ideas flourish. Like you said, you started co-writing.
We did. We've started, a lot of us have co-written. So we started kind of talking about anthologies when Kate Pickford put her Hellcats anthology together. And to that end, there's actually a piece in the middle there. So there's a bunch of us that met in Edinburgh, and then a bunch of us that got together again at SPF in London. And right after SPF in London, I had gone to Northern Ireland to work with Lass, to hang out with Lass for about 3 weeks. And then I was going to come back to Scotland, and then I was going to come back to the States. And as luck would have it, flights were canceled, travel became impossible. I ended up staying in Northern Ireland, and I was just really lonely, right? Because we were in lockdown. Lass and I were respecting the rules, and her husband, Colin, and her son, Lewis, were coming and bringing me food. And I was at a B&B down the road. And so they would drop off food and they would make sure that I was fed. But I was really in a B&B by myself, like 24/7. And I would walk down and I would holler across from Larne over to Scotland and say good morning to Scotland every morning. But that was it, right? So at that point, I just sort of put out in our Edinburgh group, hey, does anybody want to start sprinting together? And from that, there were 8, and then there were 12, and then there were 20, and then there were 24. So we grew this group that write together 6 days a week, 3 times a day. Different people come in for different things. Sometimes we sprint, sometimes we edit, sometimes we critique each other's work, sometimes we're working on social media, sometimes we're working on websites. We all got together and did a cohort and built websites together in WordPress. And Alice and I learned how to do merch using Printful. And so we taught everybody else how to do it. And everybody has a specific skill or talent or trick, and we all started sharing them. So that piece in the middle was kind of, it was kind of important because it led into all of these other things that happened, and the networking and the conversations. We've all become more like family, more so than just colleagues, right? We've kind of kicked each other's integrity tires, and we know each other really well. And we all write in different genres. So we have nonfiction and urban fantasy and reverse harem and paranormal and nonfiction. And, we all come at it from different perspectives. But at the core of it, we're all indie authors, right? And we're all sort of making our way up the mountain of success and taking different paths, and we're not prescriptive. We kind of adhere to all of the 20 books ethos and carry that really well throughout what we do. But there's a good core group of us that just really do life together. It's almost like if we had an office somewhere and we were all sitting in an office and we pop up and say things. But yeah, it's been life-changing for, I think, most of us, all of us. I can't speak for everybody, but I can. We all say it.
I'm going to, even if
I apologize a lot. I apologize a lot after the fact.
And that is okay. I don't see anybody commenting on the video quality that it's bad or that I'm jerky in my icon, but I see that my throughput is good. I'm back up with throughput. We have 4 people giving us the angry icon. We're going to find you. We're going to find you.
Probably last.
It's no big deal. So those ideas, you started the website for author tools. That's out there. But Indie Author Magazine, which is a rather a significant endeavor, because magazines time for magazines.
Yeah, it's chunky. So Indie Author Tools, which is what we started first, was we were all sharing tools and tips and tricks and articles and apps and databases and downloadables and like all the things. And we started with like a spreadsheet, and that quickly just became unwieldy. So what we did was we built a website and called it indieauthortools.com. And it became sort of our love letter to the industry, right? It's free. It's crowdsourced. People can submit things. It's searchable. We're fixing some of the searching because we've got over 250 tools in there now. And then we started a newsletter, which is called the Friday 5. That goes out every Friday morning at 1 a.m. So the UK folks get it at 7 a.m. and Central Time, which is where I sit. We call it CST, which is Central Time, but it's also Coronita's Time, which is kind of the little name that we gave our group. That goes out at 7 a.m. And so we have an 85% readability open on that every week. 5 tools, quick and dirty. You get them, and they're amazing. That's curated by Pat Carr, who was at Edinburgh, and she just sort of said, "I'll do it." Everybody sort of raises their hand and does stuff. That's kind of how it all works, which is amazing because stuff gets done. So the genesis of Indie Author Tools was that. And then from that, we were talking craft in more depth, and we said, did we just start a book club? So we did. We started a book club, and that's run by Robin Sardi and Fatima Fayez. And we have one person that shares a different book every month, and we invite people to come hang out with us. So Tammy Labrecque came and hung out with us. Ricardo from Reedsy came and hung out with us. And that's open to everybody. So we take a different book every month. And then Alice and I, about, November, December of last year, Alice has done magazines before. Alice Briggs has done magazines before. And I have been the editor-in-chief of a travel-related magazine before. And sort of in separate spaces, she and I became accountability partners after Edinburgh. And so in separate spaces, we were both thinking about doing a magazine. And then one day on our Saturday accountability mastermind call, we both started talking about it as if we talked to the other person already about it. And it just sort of dawned on us, we were having the same idea at the same time. And so we started looking at resources. We went to the group of folks that we write with, and we went to our pool of technology that we've got, and it all just came together spectacularly. Everybody threw up their hands, couldn't throw up their hands fast enough to say they would write about it. So all of our staff writers are working indie authors. So every problem or idea or article is written from somebody with the perspective of a working indie author. Or there's some people that we bring in for perspectives on technology, or there's some people that we bring in for perspectives on wellness and mindset. And so we sat down and we wrote out all the different topics that we felt like we faced as indie authors. So we have a health and wellness section, which covers body and movement and getting up and apps that go with that. But we also have a mindset, right? Because they're two, brain and body, we wanted to feature those separately. So we have a mindset section that talks about how to get your brain straight, how to find and ask for help, how to stay motivated when you're in the middle of a first draft slog. All of those things feel organic because they are organic, right? It's us serving the indie author community as opposed to us trying to write about something that we don't know about. So that's the magazine's genesis. We've already have a year's worth of articles, and we're pushing out the next year. We're planning the next year. Robin Sardi and Erica Everest are the managing editors, and they are amazing. They laugh at time zones, and they don't laugh at the things that Alice and I throw at them as crazy ideas. They're just the most organized, structured, fantastic people you'd ever want to do anything with. They put together the issues, and we're loosely following for the first year the iterative process that an author goes through to write a book. So in May, when we launched with outlining, and then June is going to be first drafts, and then July is what is July?
Self-edit, self-flagellation.
Right, that, yeah. July is cover design, and then August is editing, September is distribution, and so on and so on. And it's loose because not we have more rebels than we have people that actually follow that, but it is kind of an iteration. Then we have a featured author, and then we have beginning, intermediate, and advanced topics, because we want to hit everybody, right? We don't want to leave anybody behind. Some people are farther along the process in the journey and reach back and help people up the mountain of success. And some people are just starting out and don't know what plotting or pantsing or planting or ploncing is. So we don't leave them behind. We explain what that is. And so there's something for everybody. We really feel pretty strongly about that.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of helping people to help themselves, to help them change their lives for the better. And big thing, I know some people let politics get into their various conversations and lives. And I see in Indie Author Magazine the same thing we have in Books to 50K, and that don't get distracted. You can do this stuff, you can be successful, you make your own money, and then you can do whatever you want with your money and your time once you have that. But there's a certain benefit to helping people to be successful in their own right, so then they can really embrace and do what they want, what they feel is they're compelled to do, what's important for them to do. I mean, there's a lot of people. Facebook is extremely challenging to browse and read because of the just a lot of the vitriol and people there who are so unhappy. And I've been attacked personally about not taking a stance. I'm like, being on Facebook and ranting isn't taking a stance, because first, you're not going to change anybody's opinion, and second, it's if I'm here helping people to not get thrown out of their apartments, to have a living and to have a career, then aren't we doing the right thing by our fellow humans? And not, I'm going to rant on Facebook. You think less of me because I don't rant on Facebook. If that's your opinion, I just think less of me then.
Yeah, I think here's the thing. When I have a history of conferences that I've been to, conferences that I've put together. I've put together TEDx conferences over the years. And one of the things that struck me about when I walked into the 20 Books conference is how the actions spoke louder than any virtue signaling, so to speak. Meaning, you took into account people's accessibility levels, right? So you had water stations and coffee strategically placed so people could get it. You had people that if an author was overwhelmed, there were quiet spaces where they could go. You were there was an organic diversity on the panels, right? And it wasn't something that you had to say, but it was something that I noticed as a conference organizer. And so what Alice and I have tried to do is sort of thread that in to our business model, which is we reflect the community that we serve. And so you'll find accessibility on our website, and you'll find things in our value statements, but we don't want to go out and we don't highlight that. It's just part of it, right? And so we feel like by serving people in the way that we do, those actions speak louder than anything we could say on any one particular topic, right? We are inclusive. We are accessible. We do pay attention to things, but we don't have to say that. That's just who we are and what we do because of the people that work with us, that write for us, that we ask to be on the covers. And so that's one thing that I've always sort of admired about the way that 20 Books does. And it's easy to, like, if you have a post where you say something, I think you find very quickly, you don't have to say a word. There's probably 30 or 40 people that will come and say something on your behalf and defend you. And we want that same, level of membership and ownership and service to people so that they feel that too, right? They know what we're about. They know what we stand for and who we serve. And so, and
that was my lead in and a segue back to Indie Author Magazine. I got the first issue and I looked at it. Actually, I think I was the first recipient of the issue, besides your internal team for review and that stuff, of course. But I read through it and I said, this serves everybody. That's what you can do when you're helping people, especially when you're looking at stuff like 20 books of 50K. Nobody pays to be a member. I don't have to, and having no endorse for our conferences is so important because it gives us the supreme horsepower. We have the ultimate trump card. I'm not making money from this. I mean, Indie Author Magazine, yes, you charge, but you have websites, you have costs, you have all those kinds of things. And what is your driving force behind that?
It's service. It's always been service. It's been, this is our community. We are of and from and love this community and have seen how it's changed our lives. And so if we can help people see the mountain, but also see the various paths up the mountain, that's really our goal, is to help people to reach back and help people up the mountain the way that we've been helped up the mountain at various conferences and through 20 Books and through, other websites, Wide for the Win, SPF. There's all kinds of places where we've just been given to so generously that it seems selfish for us not to give back generously. And yeah, we do have costs associated with it. We have a website, we have an app, we have an iOS app, we have a Google Play app. So those are very real costs, but we also wanted to be sure that we were found in the most places that we could be found in. And we'll have print. We have print versions that are coming of the magazine because I think it adds legitimacy, right? We are a small, for as many people as we have and serve, we're a small industry. Pretty much we all know one another. We've been around a long time. We've met most folks or know of most folks. And so it's almost like a family. And we said this earlier, 20 Books is like a family reunion. It's not like this huge conference with 1,500 people. You can't walk down the hall and not know people, which you would think as introverts would be intimidating, but it's not. It's really not, because it is people that are, they're not your competition, right? Nobody is competing with another author, right? Once someone reads one book, it behooves you to help them find another author like you. And it behooves that author to help their readers find your books. Because at the end, what you're going for is satisfied readers, right? It's not like a widget that you sell one widget and everybody's competing for that one widget. It's just, we're in such a young, nimble and agile industry, and there's so much opportunity. It blows my mind. Coming from the marketing perspective, it blows my mind. There's no other industry that has as much opportunity as ours. So that's our motivation.
That's good to hear. And Fatima, and one of the kindest, nicest people you'll ever meet. And she chewed my butt at 20 Books Vegas 2019 because of the sign-in. The sign-in line wrapped around the hotel twice, and it was pretty cool. But I was trolling the line, just saying hi to people. So many people, but I kept catching up to the front, and Fatima was chasing me away. Go, move farther down the line, move farther down. You're holding things up. So, yeah.
But think about that line.
It was.
Craig. Think about that line, because that line moved quickly, and you had one person that sort of pre-gamed everything, and then you had another person that quickly checked people in. Then you had people that got badges. Then you had a drink station, and we got to meet your sister. So it was fast and efficient. It was A+.
And that's what you'll see. You'll actually see more of that in Bali's this year. But the what you were talking about is meeting friends. I've only been in the industry. I published my first book in January of 2016. So 5.5 years as a published author, and really less than 5 years with any kind of success. Summer 5 years ago, that's when my book started taking off, because I had 3 different series being published at the simultaneously. And one of those series was with a traditional publishing house. So they got me a lot of exposure. And by the end of the year, I was in Barnes and Noble. And this is like 11 months into my journey. And all of a sudden, yeah, I'm TradPub, as well as I've got these other books, and it was going well. And now 5 years later, it's walking down the hall. I mean, remember 2019, somebody grabbed me, "Hey, Craig," and it was John Truby.
Yeah.
I'm like, this guy's a legend in the industry. And here he knows who I am. And it's not that, yes, I'm name dropping. I know John Truby. It's that we're all here together. Everybody puts on their or dresses or kilts the same way. Except me, I put mine on backwards, actually. So not everybody puts on the same. Some put it on right, and it's all of us together. And that's the feeling I got from the Indie Author magazine. Was this thing? The articles were addressed to peers, a peer approach, that we're all peers. And I get questions on the conferences about, "Hey, I haven't published a book yet, but I'm finished on my first one. It's just I don't think it's ready to publish." That's perfect. Come on down and join us. And like half of the people who will be at the show are in that boat.
Yeah.
Maybe unpublished and trying to figure it out, or writing their first book. But we treat everybody like peers, because they are. We all started there, and we started there not long ago.
Right. So 2017, this is what's funny to me, is when we went to Smarter Arts in 2017, Michael was there, Honore Corder was there, David Gaughran was there, Clark Chamberlain was there, Chris Patterson was there, Mary Mayweather was there, Jackie Dana was there. These are all people that are now, prolific writers and have had great success and have done amazing things, and we can point to as experts. Oh, Tammy Lebrecht was there. These are all people that we now consider peers. Some of them are friends. Some of them I know well enough to call up and say, "Hey, can you do this for the magazine? What do you think about this? Because we'd like to feature your perspective in it." And that's just it. People that are joining the industry now look at these folks as giants and titans in the industry, and they are. All of them are, right? I'm thrilled to have met them when I did, but they're still approachable, right? Everybody is approachable in this industry. You can pretty much pick up the phone or send an email to just about anybody in indie authorship and indie publishing, and you get a response and get somebody that's helpful. It's unique, beyond unique.
Well, and
I'm so honored.
I use the phrase "get to give," and you or give to get. You guys are giving. And like you said, you can pick up the phone. If somebody sees Chelle Honiker is sending a note, of course you're gonna answer it. Or Tammy Lebrecht, or in my case, I got an email from Hugh Howey. "Hey, about the show. I don't think he's coming this year, but Tammy Lebrecht is coming, and I've got her for a couple different presentations on newsletters, of course, and whatever she wants, because these are recognized experts who understand what they're talking about, understand what they're doing, and can help."
And the other thing that I think, they're all still very curious. They haven't reached a level of success where they don't have anything else left to learn. And so Tammy will ask me things about things, and I'll ask her things. And, she is the undisputed genius of newsletters and Newsletter Ninja, undisputed. But she'll ask me technical questions. We'll talk about, course creation and stuff. So I think that's what makes this industry so unique, is that it's ever changing and ever evolving, but everybody stays infinitely curious, and there's always something to learn, because there's always something that's quickly changing and pivoting. We've talked about Vela, and how Vela is the new big thing, and there's lots of opinions, and nobody quite knows what's going to happen with it. So I lost Craig. So it's now the Chelle Show. Thanks for coming. Hopefully Craig will come back in a minute. I'm looking back through the comments, which I can see. So if anybody has questions, I can answer them until Craig comes back, or I can just pretty much just hijack his show. I have no problem with that. What am I most excited for in relation to the magazine? Oh my gosh, there's not one thing. I get up every morning and I get to play with my friends all day. That is the most, thrilling and exciting thing. It's when you finally get to the place where you have your dream job and you don't know what to do for it every day, how you got there and what happened. It's phenomenal. It's the greatest job I've ever had. And I'm really, really lucky to be able to work with the people that I am, who are writers, fiction writers who have pivoted to educating people in a journalistic way. So we have amazing writers, but then we also have, of course, Robin and Erica, who now shape those up and edit them. So any tips on Vegas for the new people? Oh my gosh. Okay, first of all, come to Vegas. Don't be intimidated. Don't be afraid to come to Vegas. I hear it all the time that people are introverts. You will not be disappointed. You will always feel safe. There's always places where you can introvert, but there are also people there that you can ask questions to in a very non-threatening way. So I think the cool thing is we had Sam's Town for years and we had it all to ourselves, but now we have Bally's, which is much bigger. So there's going to be lots more spaces where you can kind of hang out. Hey, Craig, thanks for joining the Chelle show. I appreciate you coming back.
Oh, all right. Super cool. I'm here. Oh my God. Oh, hey, good. Well, no, that's great. I'm glad you picked up on that. Hey, he's coming back eventually. I lost my internet, so
I did.
It just randomly goes down. So I'm hooked through my phone now, so I could go down again. So thanks for talking about that. Somebody asked a question. Any tips on Vegas?
Someone asked about tips on Vegas, so I gave them tips on Vegas.
Okay, good deal. Yeah. Good deal. Yeah. In Indie Author Magazine, I see Erica had popped up and said July was covers, talking about covers.
Yes. So we're talking about covers from the perspective. It's really cute. I'm going to kind of give a little preview, and Alice is going to kill me later. But we have a cover inside the magazine where we use different typesets. Completely different typesets, and it changes the whole vibe of it. So we talk about that. We talk about meeting reader expectations with regard to covers and making sure that you're fulfilling the promise that the reader expects with a cover, and how they're going to choose yours as opposed to somebody else's, and the space. We talk about options for DIY, which, that is still a valid method for people creating their books. You just need to know the reasons why and how you can do that successfully, so that you don't put up something that's completely, terrible, which we've all done. Hi. So,
yeah.
DIY pre-mades, where to find great pre-mades. We talk about, different groups on Facebook. The thing about the magazine is, if any article that you read in Indie Author Magazine, it's not just the static information. You're going to come away with resources, right? And we're going to point you to the best places where you can continue the conversation, or you can find best practices, or you can connect with people, because things change, right? And that's why we chose to do it in a magazine format, was because we had options for keeping it digital and keeping it relevant. We didn't want to publish books, which are great resources, but sometimes can be very static in terms of information. And if the reader has a question or needs to know something, the book might be out of date by the time it's even published sometimes. So we wanted the most user-friendly and accessible format, which is why we have the magazine on the website, indieauthormagazine.com, but then we also have the iOS app, which you can search for in the App Store, and we have the Google Play app. And then if you subscribe on the website for an annual subscription, you get the apps for free. You get the access to the apps for free. We have bonus content. We have videos that are of the authors that we're interviewing. So we have, I will say, June's is Jamie Albright. She is our June featured author. And so we have some video that we've edited into the bonus content on the website to, so you can see Jamie. It's like a podcast episode. And she's she's so hard to talk to. It's just terrible. She's really, really unrelatable. Which is not true. It's a big lie. She's amazing.
Yeah, that's Jamie can be a front man on any rock band.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we featured her podcast last month because her podcast is What I Wish I Knew when I first started. Yeah. So her podcast is completely relatable as well. So
you bet.
Jamie was at Smarter Artist 2017, and I embarrassed myself because I'd read her book the night before, and I fangirled all over her very embarrassingly. But it is what it is.
Yeah. I met her. I had no idea who she was. So my ignorance was the shield by which I defended myself and protected myself. Like, who are these people? What's this Irish guy? Boy, he sounds pretty angry. The
guy with a beard. What's up with that?
Yeah. That was that one. And I talked to those guys. I talked to the guys who run the Smarter Artists, Johnny and Sean.
Yeah.
And I said the reason 20 Books Vegas exists is because of Smarter Artists 2017. I said, because it was so bad. And they're like, oh man, that was the worst conference we ever put together. We lost money on it, even though it seemed like it was overpriced. He said it was horrible. I'm like, I'm with you, man. And so come on to 20 Books Vegas and let's show you how it is. And he said, well, you got better. You went to another show after that. I said, are you kidding? After that experience? Of course I didn't go to any more shows after that. No. But that's I want to give those guys credit where credit is due. The reason 20 Books Vegas 2017 exists and the pricing structure is as it is because of the bad experience I had at Smarter Artists 2017. But and the big but, somebody asked, what do you get out of Vegas? Meeting people. Look at all these people who came together, and that's what one of the things that was marketed about Smarter Artists Summit was. World-class networking with quality authors.
It was.
And so I went there. I went there to meet Michael because we had co-authored a few titles. And so I went there to meet him. And oh, by the way, here's all these other people. I got to meet Dean Cole and a number of other science fiction authors. Like, these guys are cool. Paul. I know these guys.
T.S. Paul.
That's right. Scott was there, and I think. Who else? Jen Hendricks was there.
Austin is a very vibrant community of authors, really huge community of authors. And the funny thing is that Johnny and Sean were, they would speak at like Barnes and Noble and Half Price Books at different author groups. And when it was them and that one-to-one, it was fantastic. You could sit there and ask them like a million questions. And Matt Herron was there. He's written a book on Scrivener was like my Bible when I first. It's a pretty cool environment to have started in. Overwhelming, but still amazing. Kate Lawley. I mean, you could throw a stone. Amy Teagan. You could throw a rock and hit any number of 50 different amazing, prolific authors, editors, thought leaders in Austin. It was a great place to get started. But
Austin's a good place, but it's spendy. So spendy.
A little bit. Yeah. But you know what? It's barbecue. So I'm sorry. We're not going to apologize for that. That's what we do.
No, and Martha Carr almost killed me in Austin at the Smarter Artist 2017. Yep.
You know the funny thing is, go ahead. Sorry, I could talk.
So she took me out for you're on a roll because you think I'm going to get cut off again. She took me out for Tex-Mex, and I had such a bad case of regurg on it. And Tex-Mex, it almost killed me. So we don't mess around.
We don't mess around. If we'll kill you.
It was so good. It was so good.
We don't mind. So Martha's son was in a freelance conference that I was at. That's how I met him. And then when I saw Martha and met Martha in Edinburgh, I was like, oh, I know your kid. It was, and the funny thing is, Alice and I met in Edinburgh, even though we both live in Texas. So You know, it's the kismet. It's you can't. These are funny coincidences that you just aren't coincidences. I don't believe in coincidence. It's all meant to be like this.
The networking and the relationships that people make. And I'm so happy Lass got out of her shell and started talking to people, because she is an exceptional personality and a creative soul who's doing well with her books and fiction. Fiction. Yeah. I think she strapped herself in with, I write nonfiction. No, you really don't. And opened up. Kate Bird, I got a picture of me in Edinburgh with Kate while she was power writing, trying to get 10,000 words on that last day. Yeah. And I'm hugging on her and taking selfies. And she also is another personality who helps other people be better. And I think that's one thing that in 20 books and that the Coronitas have embraced is helping others. You already talked about that, helping others and being better ourselves to help others be better. I mean, you flew all the way to Vegas to help us pack and wrap when 20 Books 2020 was canceled, and we're trying to pack and ship out the swag to those people who donated their conference fees. And that made 20 Books Vegas 2020 solvent. Otherwise, me and Michael would have had to pitch them a lot of money out of our pockets to cover those costs that weren't recoverable, which weren't that much. So it was okay, but it gave us to put a nice deposit on for Bali's and show them that we were serious about moving there and getting set up for those wins. And now Bali's, we completely self-contained. So there's this huge central area through which everybody will traverse going from one session to another. And it is going to be, that place is going to be a massive mob fest of small conversations. And this is where if you're an introvert or somebody, and that's not a term that says, hey, I need to go be a wallflower and hug the wall. It's just walk around. Nobody is looking at you saying, oh man, there's a person who looks different from us, because you won't. You're going to look the same as all of us. We all look the same.
Yeah.
And you find that conversation, help yourself in. People will welcome you into their they'll step aside. And I saw John Truby outside of his session. There was like 20 people in the circle. As people joined the circle expanded until it was a big ring that filled a whole area.
Yeah. You have the most prolific conversations at the unofficial bar cons, which are when people actually just go hang out at the bar.
Which that's a segue. Explain Gincident.
Okay. Gincident. There were a group of us when we were at Edinburgh. Of course, we were on campus, and the uni has a bar, right? And the bar is lovely. The bar did not account for the number of authors that like to drink gin, and there were 3 of us in particular that had discovered Navy Strength. We didn't know what Navy Strength was. It was Ashley Farron and myself. We were like, what is this? And so we drank the bar dry of gin. The bar ran out of gin. And so we drank gin, and there was an incident, and we hashtagged it Gincident. And so it's Lass McMaster, Ashley Farron, and I. We have swag. We started a WhatsApp chat just to kind of keep track of each other. And I looked last night, and we've shared 538 memes, and we've shared 227 TikToks, and we have 27 gigabytes of chat threads. That's Gincident. And from Gincident was born, of course, the Coronitas, but the 3 of us drained the bar. We didn't do it by ourselves, obviously, but we did say that.
Bullshit. Bullshit.
Well, all I can say is that when the Irish lassie introduced us to Navy Strength, it all went downhill from there. The incident happened because of that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, blame her.
I do blame her. I do. But from that, we have kept in touch. We we roomed together in London when we all came together for SPF Live, and had fun times there. We found a bar across the street who had their Bluetooth open, and we didn't like the music they played, so we Spotify hijacked the playlist. So there's shenanigans afoot, as one does.
That's yeah, the techno Cornitas. And one thing that the Cornitas have done is they volunteered to run the author signing event, which is a fairly complex event. We have a lot of media relations that need to happen between now and November, and significantly happening sooner rather than later, because for every participating author, we're asking you to, hey, so share, get 1 to 2 or 3 of your fans. If every participating author gets 3 fans, that'll be almost 1,000 fans coming, just 3. Some people aren't going to be able to get any because your fans might be in Europe or wherever, but yeah, volunteered. I'm doing the air quotes thing and nobody can see me, so that was pretty cool.
We actually we actually say voluntold.
Yeah.
we didn't we were voluntold by Craig, and we do it gladly.
Put McNagster on it.
He's there, man.
But this getting that media page out in order to help people solicit their fans, as well as Amazon will probably. We don't have sponsors at the show, but Amazon has offered 2 months free Kindle Unlimited for every person who shows up in person to the author signing. So this is one thing we just need to confirm with Amazon, and hopefully Amazon will be able to join us for that. There's a bar in their travel through all of 2022, but they're reviewing policy in July. Hopefully they loosen it up and Amazon can bring their team down. But that, and then we have some big name authors who are coming. I think RJ Blaine is, I think she already has 100 fans who are coming to get a book that they've pre-ordered that she will bring and she will have there, and they're gonna come and get it signed. And so you look at this, and all of a sudden we're at 2,000, we're at 3,000 fans. So where else are you going to find this kind of author signing event? And I know RWA was big. They did these and they worked well. And we're trying to build our own reputation of bringing the fans in. And also, it's for authors to learn. There's no cost for an author to participate in this, besides bringing your books in and those kinds of things, of course. But still, being there and seeing how other people do it, see how other people engage. It's a learning environment. So I think it's the frosting on the cake of a great conference. And a 5-day conference was another thing. 5 days for $300 on the Strip. Hard to beat that.
Yeah, I've always said you were nuts with your pricing, but yeah, but that's a conversation for another day. It is the best valued conference of any conference that I've ever been to in our industry and outside of our industry. So yeah, and I think the caliber of people that you have that come and speak at the conference, but also that you make things available after the fact. I think that's kind of the model that a lot of people don't really recognize, is the production quality, but also the fact that you can watch it on YouTube after the fact, which is amazing. And most conferences charge $1,500 to have access to it because that's what they do.
Yeah, so it's actually going to cost us $105,000 to get the audio video for the show.
Yeah.
And we're making it available free for everybody. The people who come to the show, you're helping fund that for everybody else. So this is authors helping authors. If you can come to the show, you get the benefit of the networking, the in-person conversations, and then you also get to help somebody else by your conference fee. That's why the conference fees went from $200 to $300 to cover that extra little bit, that extra $105,000 for audiovisual for the show. Yeah. But it's something. This is for everyone. We're all helping everyone else. So and open bars because you were talking about a bar.
We
are going to have
the Author Magazine has a booth, I believe, at the conference. So that
I think you guys bought one.
We did.
The vendor spot.
We'll have print versions available for people to pick up and have signed by their favorite featured authors that might be roaming around the conference. How cool is that?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's going to be sci-fi extravaganza. I meant romance. I meant urban fantasy. I meant nonfiction. I mean,
No,
all of it. All of it. You'll get all
all
of
of
it. So
it.
where
All of it.
where can your average Joe or Jane find you and the Indie Author Magazine?
So our website is indieauthormagazine.com. We have a couple of ways you can subscribe there. You can subscribe on our website. We also have merch on our website. One fun thing I don't want to forget to mention is we have an avatar. We have a very irreverent, sassy Indie Annie who will answer questions with a tipple in her teacup, we say. And she's written by one of our amazing writers who answers questions from people that might be afraid to ask. So it's kind of like our Dear Abby, but it's Indie Annie. And so we have merch there and cups and things that you can buy on the website. So if you go to Indie Author Magazine, you'll see all the things. You can also search for the app on the Apple Store or on Google Play. They're both available there. And we have Facebook, social. We're on Pinterest. We're on TikTok. We're on YouTube. We're literally everywhere. We're on all the socials.
Freaks. What about your tools?
Oh, indieauthortools.com is our free tool. It's our love letter to the industry. You can go to indieauthortools.com. We have them broken down by category. So there's podcasts and playlists, and there's apps that we love, and there's deals and discounts. Some folks have come to us and said, hey, we'll give you 10% off for everybody if they come through this link. So there's affiliate links just to keep the lights on there. It doesn't cost you anything. In a lot of cases, there's a discount. Be sure and sign up for the Friday 5 newsletter, because that's where we put out the 5 best tools that we've gotten in that week. Sometimes we have themed tools lists. So like if you're into outlining, we'll have the 5 best outlining tools. But Patricia Carr puts that together, and she's amazing. I love her so much. So that's indieauthortools.com. So, and then we have a Facebook group where we chat tools. It's the Indie Author Tools Facebook group, and people will post things there and say, hey, like John Evans posted a question a couple weeks ago about Promo Republic, which is a social sharing tool. And there were like 6 people that said, oh, it's the best. Here, get it. Don't delay. Here's how I've used it. Here's how I've streamlined Instagram. Here's how I've done this. So while 20 books is amazing and highly focused on, the business of writing, we can have side conversations and supplemental conversations over at indieauthortools.com, Facebook, and the magazine around very specific one-to-one questions and one-to-one resources for things. So
Sounds good.
We're very respectful of that.
Good deal. Good deal. I appreciate it. Appreciate your time. And Mr. Angry Face Icon, we're going to find you. No, we're not going to find you. I'm not going to look at that. You got
It's probably me. I probably did it. My mom probably did it.
It probably glitched when I bailed out unintentionally, mind you. But good deal. We will see you in Vegas. If we don't, well, we will see you in Houston and then also in Jayville.
I will see you in Jacksonville. I'm flying out to Jacksonville to hang out with Ashley for our birthday. And
okay.
So
I will see you in Jayville then in September, and then Vegas, babe. We got some work to do on the author signing. Got some work to do to get some stuff out there, some tools and materials for authors. And you're talking about tools. I have a spreadsheet almost cleaned up that is interactive. I have 2 of them. One to take your raw data from Amazon each month and plug it in and see how it normalizes it to a dollar value and all the good things to so you can analyze your own data.
I love it. And what's the other one?
And the other one is on one I use for all of my business tracking. I cleaned up all the pages, and here's how I track my business, from writing my word tracker to all my link trackers to all of the stuff I use, expenses, revenue, all of the stuff in one spreadsheet.
So it sounds like those would be excellent tools that you can go to indieauthortools.com and click on submit a tool in the upper left-hand corner and share with everybody.
They are going to need rather extensive explanations because they will break on the first use. So I was actually going to put a video series of here's the tool, assuming I can get StreamYard to work, showing the screen and going through screen by screen and formula by formula so I can melt people's brains with how cool some of these formulas are.
So we didn't talk about this, and I know we're wrapping up, but we also have Indie Author Tools University, where those of us that have built courses have stuck our courses. So we can accommodate those videos if you need a home for them and can want to.
What about the merchandising class that
so we do
some
have
of you guys put together?
Class. Yeah, so Alice and I, it was the Cornitas, we all kind of share tips and tricks, and so Alice and I, everybody was saying, can you build this for us? And we said, no, but we'll show you how to do it. So Alice from the creative design, she's a creative genius. She's the one that actually lays out the magazine and does it so well. But she builds merch. And so she comes at it from the design part, and I come at it from the WooCommerce and technical part. So we created a class called Merch for Authors that you can get on Indie. It's at learn.indieauthortools.com, and it's a 1-hour class.
Yeah, Erica's already copied it in.
Yeah. So that's where it is. And then we also have another cohort, a WordPress cohort, where we don't build sites for people. That's not our grid. There's lots of people that do it really well, but we'll teach you how to do it. And we get groups of people together to walk through it. And Marian Hermanson, who is just, fantastic at WordPress sites, she's there to kind of be a Sherpa for people. So it's a DIY, but with help. And we walk you through it iteratively. We've also talked to Bradley Charbonneau about putting his courses there. We've talked to a bunch of people just to have a repository, again, there for people to have, multiple courses, multiple authors. It's kind of a co-op.
Okay. Good deal. So, well, thank you, Chelle. Thanks for chatting, and I hope you have a great day and great day for all the Cornitas and everyone who is helping others to help themselves. You can't beat it. It's a great line of work. All right, everybody. Peace, fellow humans.